Mom. This week's discussion topics are anything you feel is newsworthy about bigotry, racism, and inequality in America, and unfortunately, it's pretty much everything. If you're watching the broadcast right now, I wanted to welcome everybody to the live show. It's called Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. And oh, Pat, hello, yay, I'm happy you're here. I want everyone to jump right in and say what they think. Don't be shy. Again, today's topics are going to be anything you feel is newsworthy about racism, bigotry, and inequality in America. And unfortunately, that's pretty much everything these days. The show is meant to be an opportunity for viewers to speak their mind. I'm okay, Pat, thanks. Thanks for asking. And say what they think about the variety of topics that continuously come up every single day in America, and probably all over the world as well. But the show's meant to be an opportunity for viewers to speak their mind and also to serve as an educational tool for white folks to learn the truth about systemic racism in America. If you support what I do and believe that it's way past time for white America to learn about our own real racial history and to support real equity and equality for everybody, please tell a friend about the show. Tell them what you think. Have them come on. I want to know what you think. Uh-oh, I'm sure you don't want me to start. Oh, yes, I do, Pat. I want to hear what you have to say. Today, let me see. I'm just going to do announcements really fast. I have a couple special announcements. I'm getting frustrated. I'm trying to set up this panel discussion once a week. I'm looking for people who want to be involved. The weekly topics will be told to everybody ahead of time, and there'll be probably one topic. And I want to have an array of people from a variety of backgrounds discussing the topic. And if I could find a non-football night to actually get it all set up, that would be really nice. Finding it a bit of a challenge. So I'm not so happy with the football people, the football people. But so today, I also am going to start adding a section in this live show that talks about headlines, basically stuff we need to know, and that is just, kind of stuff you need to know, but that I'm not going to go into detail because it's overwhelming. I'm sure you all have noticed. It's overwhelming how much there is. It's too much news and all over the place. Pat, well, I had a white guy at my job call me a racist. He. Really? Oh my gosh, tell us everything, Pat. You know I want to know. I want to know what happened and how you handled it. And I'm sorry that happened to you. That's pretty obnoxious, actually. Dang. It happened today. Well, if you feel like discussing it, jump in and tell us what happened, because that's what the show's here for. This is real talk, and real talk gets ugly. So what are you going to do, right? So what I'm going to do, actually, about the You Need to Know section is I'm going to ask people to come on and, come on to my social media stuff and give me topics that they'd like to hear about. Oh, you schooled him. Good. Good. I'm sure you did. It's like, poor guy, probably didn't know what was coming at him. He messed with the wrong person. I'm really sorry that happened. That's disgusting. You should not have to deal with anything like that. The topics for tonight that I've prepared are the NFL and white players, actual football players, Biden and his debate responses, which we won't get into that right yet, but immigrants' lives being ruined by this administration, and it's kind of like a vendetta, I want to say almost. Trump's homeless solution, and the Felicity Huffman sentence. I want to know what you think. So while you're thinking about what you would like to talk about, Pat, especially you, since you have a story to tell, if you're comfortable, of course, I will get into my rant. And it's a short rant, but it is from the heart. One of the first things I tell white folks about when I work with white folks in anti-racism and anti-bigotry is that 3 out of 4 white American adults don't have a single close friend who isn't white. So why does that matter? Why does that matter? Well, if you're white, middle class, straight, and Christian, and you don't have a single close friend who's not, Muslim, a person who's Muslim, a person who's transgender, Jewish, Black, Indigenous, etc., then you have no real life experience with people who are Muslim, transgender, Jewish, Black, etc. If you have no real life experience with these people, the fact is, if you have one close friend, a really close friend, I'm not just talking a buddy who you see at work once in a while, then in each of these groups, the groups aren't a monolith, and a sampling of one or two isn't really going to cut it anyway. But knowing one or two people might give you a feel for what's really going on if you know them closely as good friends. Like been to your house, that kind of friends. Knowing one or two is a great start. One or two people who aren't exactly like you. Same religion, same skin tone, same beliefs, everything, all the above, same sexual identity, etc. If you don't know anybody, then you got to think, how do I find out about all this stuff? How do I figure what my morals and values are on these topics? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but knowing a few people that aren't just like you is great. It's a good start, but it won't make you an expert sociologist in American culture. The problem with not having a single close friend who is not exactly a replica of you, but a different person, is that for some reason, Americans think that we know these people when we don't. And it's this type of ignorance that is incredibly dangerous because it's got the underlying makings of racist, bigoted views. Pat, well, we tend to gravitate to people who are somewhat like us, and absolutely. And in this day and age of fake news, complete BS, whitewashed history, extreme, 2019, extreme overt racism, proud racism, white folks need to get a little uncomfortable. And you will be uncomfortable, but you'll live through it. And you will not believe what it'll do for you. It'll make you a changed person for the better. And it's because, we think we know. So if we're not getting our religious, sexual orientation, race, culture, understanding from actual experience, then where are we getting it from? Well, that's obvious, right? Television news, online, the gossipy neighbor next door, propaganda, work colleagues, the ignorant president. Oops, did I say that? So how do we know these sources are truthful? Here's the thing. With many folks aren't getting this kind of information from a large population pool from direct experience. It's no wonder that half of the white adults in America believe we're in a post-racial era. That should explain a lot. So it's no wonder a lot of folks think all Muslims are terrorists. No wonder people believe that being born LGBTQ into the LGBTQ community is a choice. Of course, there's a multitude of other influences. Whitewashed history, how you were raised, the segregation, the rampant segregation that's pre-64 segregation today. And just a huge lack of knowledge among white folks in America about our own racial history, to name a few. So let this sink in. People always wonder, how did this happen? And I tell the folks that ask me who are white, it didn't just happen. You're just noticing. And Pat, people don't want to talk about the things that are hard to talk about, like racism. Absolutely. I am very painfully aware of that. If I want to clear a room, I can just yell the word black, a room of white folks, that would mortify everybody and they'd leave, or at least they'd quiet down. I've done it before. I'm sorry, I just admitted something. Okay, I may have done it before. Okay, I've done it before. It's almost unbelievable. because they think it's a bad word or something. I know I'm bad. Sometimes I just get frustrated. Usually I don't lash out, but I did it once, and let me tell you, nothing like clearing a room. So we're not really having a lot of real experiences. That's 75% of us white folks. So 3 out of 4 is pretty bad. We're not getting the right information because we're not getting it from the actual people who are living it every day. And not having experience with any of the people who aren't exactly like us. Gary, hello, thanks for being here. Is troubling on a number of levels that I'm not going to get completely into, but the problem is this opens us up for being vulnerable to believing lies, basically. Here's the thing. If Fox News or Trump's Twitter feed is your source for learning about the Muslim faith, or for determining why the average Black American family earns about half the income that the average white family in this day and age, then you're being played. You're being conned. You've been had. Because you're getting propaganda. And America's really good with propaganda. You'd be shocked. So you're getting the stereotypes, you're getting the misinformation, and you're putting it on social media and spreading it to your friends. And I know that it's not on purpose, but we don't have the fairness doctrine anymore. We don't have, we have Citizens United. We have corporations that have a huge stake in having their way at all costs. So combined with, white folks' natural lack of willingness to, and everybody's actually probably, to do critical thinking and analysis, we end up upholding the long-standing culture of racism and bigotry in America. So each time I have a show, I call upon white folks. I don't hate white folks. A lot of people say I do, but I don't. I expect more of my fellow humans. That's all. I just expect more. I have high expectations, okay? And I know we can do it because I've seen so many people get on the anti-racism continuum and keep going. It's a lifelong journey. We're never going to get there. Hi, Martin. Thanks for being here. Thank you. You're so sweet. It's a lifelong journey. It's a commitment. But it's a great commitment to understanding what's going on before our eyes. I mean, another commitment is to completely pretend we don't know what's going on and just, go blindly through life. But it's not good for anybody. And the coolest thing that I've learned, if I have to say I've learned one thing in the last 5 years, and this might sound strange, it's that trying to work towards more equity and equality for everyone in the United States is absolutely beneficial to white folks too. Now, it is absolutely not just the right thing to do to be moral and all that. And I'm not talking about saviors, and I'm not talking about, getting your picture on Facebook. I'm talking about, we're not saviors. We don't know more than the actual people who are living this every day. But I'm talking about saying to yourself, you know what? I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of people being racist around me. Pat, why keep living a lie? Exactly. What's it doing? It's only hurting you. You know inside that it's not true. You know we don't have real equality in America. I mean, white folks do know whether it's at what level it's at. I can't answer for that. But anyway, so it is absolutely in the best interest of white folks to unite with our brothers and sisters who are Black, brown, indigenous, African American, Israelite, whatever non-white folks are, mixed heritage, and say, we support you, not lead, we support you. So that's the end of my rant. So I want to know what you guys want to talk about. I have a ton of stuff planned, and Pat might tell us what's going on with him tonight. I don't want to pressure him, but he had an incident, and I'm sure he schooled someone, but good. But the last thing I'm going to say is, if you truly believe in what I'm trying to do, which is put out a forum where white people, black people, people of everything talk and chat and live through it. Then please get your friends to come on. Help me get people to get on here and start talking. Because if nothing, it's an example. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to know everything. You just have to care. So the next thing I have up for tonight is, okay, don't kill me, but the NFL. It's killing me. If you're watching tonight on, Martin, everybody knows, and the only person we can change is ourselves. If we change, then we perhaps can change others around us. Absolutely. No one can force you to care. No one can force you to want to learn the truth about our racial history. This isn't about blaming. This great point, Martin. Thank you. This is not about guilt. Oh my God, this is not about guilt. This is about feeling good about yourself because you're doing something cool and good that makes you say, you know what? This is the right thing to do, and I'm going to do it. It's all about you, really. I know for me, I can't stand systemic racism. I can't stand personal racism. I do this for me. I'm not anyone's hero. I don't do this because, I feel guilty. I do this because I literally cannot stand the injustice I see. It kills me. Why does it kill me? I don't know. It's just inside me, and it does. And it always has since I was a little kid. I see it, and I won't pretend I don't. And white folks did this. It doesn't mean like we personally are guilty. I'm talking about as a whole, as a collective, not individually. You didn't do anything. It's like I always say, would you walk by somebody who is struggling in a pool because you didn't shove them in? Or we're born into this, but we're not idiots. We see it. So you don't just say, I was born into that, so, oh well. No! Do you tell your kids to walk by people being bullied and just do nothing? Of course not. You say, I don't know what you say, but I tell my kids, I expect them to step up to the plate and stand up when they see a wrong being committed in front of their face, or they might as well have done it themselves. This isn't anything special. It's just speaking the truth, is all. So tonight, so thank you, Martin, for that great point. Anyone who wants to jump in and say anything, please do so. I don't want to talk the whole time. Well, I kind of love talking, but I don't want to talk the whole time. I need to talk about the NFL a little bit because I'm having some issues with them. I got upset this year when I heard some of the stories about the NFL. It didn't really take much. I was already kind of upset with them because I've been trying to get this new panel discussion, a live panel going once a week, and it seems like every single day is a football game. Sorry, football fans, don't be hating on me, but I just I can't find a day to do it because it's Monday Night Football, Sunday. So it didn't take too much because I was already kind of upset at them, but it did get me thinking in general about the NFL. And well, when I started thinking about them, I started getting really pissed off, and then it got kind of bad. So I consider Colin Kaepernick a modern day hero. And what's been going on with him and the movement he started makes me want to scream. But first, we will stop for a minute. Pat says, this guy at work didn't like black people, but he had the nerve to call me a racist because I said, white people here in Mississippi don't even acknowledge the average black person here. So he got mad because I told the truth. You know what? That is so interesting that you said that, because my friend who just wrote the book that I'm actually putting out a video on, and it's been taking me forever, he wrote a fantastic book, my friend Kenny, and I have a video coming out kind of talking about it. He's a man from the South, a white man from the South, who grew up in the town where they tried to secede from the Confederacy. They were in the South, in Mississippi. So he wrote a fantastic book. He talked about that too, that a little bit in his book. And it's a great read. I don't mean to plug his book right now, but it is. He talked exactly about that. I am incredibly sorry that happened to you. Changing somebody who has the nerve to talk to you that way, as if they know more about what it's like to be a black person in America, those are the kind of folks that, Pat, you know what I'm going to say, they're beyond help. Anyway, I hope that you taught him, and tell us more. It makes me sick that kind of thing happens. Everybody should be educated in, cultural competency. I mean, minimal competency. Martin, I've done away with watching sports a dozen years ago. That's also when I quit drinking alcohol. Yeah, they kind of go hand in hand sometimes. So, so Martin's available. Are you saying you're available anytime? Is that what you're saying? Thank you. But thanks for telling us that story, Pat. This is a show that we talk about real things. And sometimes real things aren't pretty. But I'm really sorry that happened to you. That sucks. We'll talk later for sure. I want to talk to you in private about that too, because that's not what you need. That's crazy. I'm so sorry. So I consider Kaepernick a modern day hero, and I mean, in a nation that seems to value money and capitalism over humans. Here's a guy that does the right thing, uses his fame in order to call societal attention to incredible systemic racism, and he gets effed over for it. Completely effed over for it. Pat, here, Mississippi doesn't want change. Don't you know that you hanged a black guy here in Mississippi in 2015? Oh, I have absolutely no doubt. The stuff is coming in faster than I personally can keep track. I don't know who can keep track. I cannot believe it's still going on, and I'm sure most of the people viewing can't either. If you are viewing from Facebook, I can't take both comments from here and Facebook, so come on over to Angry Soccer Mom and support this live show by jumping in and commenting. A lot of times, the more people that come and the more comments, the higher up they'll put a show and more people see it. I don't have any white folks left too much to send this to, so I do have a few, but I don't have a ton of people, so I kind of count on YouTube to help promote stuff and friends that I know. The folks I had ran away a long time ago, and I didn't even tell them to go, but that's a whole nother story. Martin, Pat, all the truth passes through three stages. First, it's ridiculed. Second, it's violently opposed. Third, is accepted as evidence. Arthur Schopenhauer. I hope I pronounced that right. Martin, thank you very much. I know you're very knowledgeable in the area. Thank you for that. Very nice. So, I was getting... Yep, Pat tells the truth. Absolutely. I was getting kind of irked because I think there's nothing more important than using... I mean, if you're a famous person, use your privilege as a famous person to educate and to help society become better. I don't know why more people don't do that. There's so many famous people who... I lied. I do know why. It's because they're afraid they'll lose money. They'll lose fans. It's all about capitalism and money. And in my mind, some things are just more important than money. Some things are just more important than capitalism and money and all that. I'm not saying put your life on the line. I'm not saying that, but for God's sakes, imagine a world where there's no racial tension. Oh my God. I know for me, it would be heavenly. It would be just heavenly. I feel it. I'm white and I feel it. I can't imagine how people who aren't white deal with this. I can't imagine. So this year, I was noticing that hardly anyone takes a knee. We have a racist national anthem, which if people don't know that by now, I don't know what to say. To bring attention to systemic racism all over. And nobody's taking a knee, and it seems the white owners have put an end to that. And it's just too upsetting for some of the white fans to handle it in their face. Because the truth is, they'll watch too, and I've said this before, and this isn't like a timely topic, but it just hit me noticing that there's no protesting. And I know it was last year as well, but this year it really hit me. It seems to me that white folks will watch them play on the field for their personal entertainment and fun, but God forbid we allow them the rights under the law. And that's really messed up. It's disgusting. So I started thinking a little bit about it, and it's always scary when I start to think, Pat, the national anthem is racist within itself. Exactly. That's, the stanzas that we usually sing, you won't catch much, but oh my gosh, we've talked about that in this show a ton. It's disgusting. It's sick. Written by a person who was a litigator against abolitionists and a slave owner. And Martin, it all comes around to our capitalist system of inequality. It breeds prejudice behavior. Absolutely. It seems like there's this kind of symbiotic, sicko relationship between capitalism and racism, systemic racism. A lot of people say it's innate in those systems. I don't believe it. I've seen people change. If something's innate, it can't be changed. That's just an excuse to continue with the status quo. Just my take. But I want to know. I can't figure this out. Why aren't more white players taking a knee? I want to know why today, why yesterday, why last year, the year before. I don't get it. They don't have the excuse, I don't know any black people, so I just get it from the news. No, they do know black people. A huge percentage of the NFL is made up of players that are non-white, like 70%. They do know people, and they know them well. They practice with them year in and year out. They're in the locker room. They're friends. They do know people who don't look like them. Why aren't they stepping up to the plate? And I want to know what you think. I mean, it probably does come around to mostly capitalism, but that's the problem. When you have fame, why wouldn't you use it to do good in the world? I just don't get it. I don't know. So it's not like they're strangers. They've spent tons of their time together. They know each other. Pat, because they don't agree with the kneeling thing. Well, the kneeling thing isn't something to agree with or not agree with, in my mind. It's called being a good American. You don't allow this kind of thing to happen in front of your eyes and do nothing. It's the most patriotic thing you can do as a human in America, to nonviolently protest inequality and lack of equity and systemic racism in a nation that boasts liberty and justice for all. I can't think of anything more American. And so, I mean, I don't really think they get to agree or disagree. But yeah, I suppose. And if that's really what they think after knowing and being close friends with so many people who aren't white, that's disgusting. And I just, Martin, they threaten their jobs. The average NFL player plays only 5 years now before they're hurt and retired. And I get that. I do, Martin, and I'm not trying to come down on that specific group, but it's the one group I know of that is not only in a very, very high status position of power, but they are every day working intimately with people who aren't looking just like them. They know these people. How can they go out there and knowing what goes on in our country and say, I'm going to stand proudly for a nation that boasts liberty? I don't know. It drives me nuts. So I was pretty crazed today. So I started looking, a couple days ago, I started looking up information on this. Like, what's wrong with these white people? Why don't they care? These are their friends. And I know some are, but not nearly enough. I mean, so I agree with you, by the way, many more should take a knee. Absolutely. Thanks, Martin. I feel so strongly about it. I wish I could interview them because I want to know why. I want to know what their reasons are. Not to judge them, but to understand. But anyway, so I don't think I'm the only white person who wonders this, because while I was doing research on the topic, I found this Instagram from less than a year ago by Amy Schumer. A lot of people love Amy Schumer. A lot of people don't like Amy Schumer. She's a comedian and activist. It was from less than a year ago, but it was a really long message. So the essence of the message, she said, was basically Amy Schumer wondered why more white NFL players don't kneel. How are you not complicit? That was my question. How are you not complicit? You are standing by somebody you know intimately, and you have the nerve to just, God, what a slap in the face. What a freaking slap in the face. That is all I can say. So this is my first topic for the day, for the night, I guess. And I just kind of planned it out because I was getting really mad. I don't get it. I want answers. And I'm not trying to blame all the whites and all this stuff, but let's be real. White folks did this, and white folks are allowing this to continue. If every white person said, no, I will not stand for this systemic racism. Not that I expect us to be heroes, not that I expect us to be leaders, but I'm just saying, you do the math. We are allowing this to continue, and it's disgusting. And this isn't a shaming session. I just want to, a lot of beginners don't, beginners who are just learning about this, they don't get it. We allow this. This is not a system that has to be here. We enjoy it. We think it's to our benefit. If you're a white bazillionaire, sorry, then it probably is to your benefit. But if you're not, it's not. And it's total false reasoning and false understanding to think that being racist is in your best interest. But that's a whole nother show. Let me take some comments here. Anton, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Pat, look, the average white person knows the hatred, but they don't want to stand up against it because of the fear of their own retaliating on them. I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do white people retaliate? I mean, do they retaliate? I get, my YouTube channel, I get like tons of hate mail, but that's not really retaliation. It's more like, I get it. You're a racist piece of shit. You want to write to me and tell me how you're racist. I'd be embarrassed to do so, but they aren't. But it's not. It doesn't do anything to me other than confirm that, dang, there's a lot of racist folks that are proud in the world, But I guess it's easy for me to say. I work at home. I don't work in an office. I cannot imagine. I don't think I do very well in an office setting. I'm just saying. But anyway, it's a whole nother story. Anton, thank you so much for coming. Anton, America, the land of the thief, home of the slaves, something, this demonic, fascist, murderous, vile, insidious, gluttonous, corrupt society and all its allies. The U.S. is under Satan's authority. It would seem that way. I don't know, but thank you for being here. So, I want to know, just a quick question for people who are here. Did you watch the debate? Some people watched them with me, the third debates. And did you watch Elizabeth Warren's speech in New York City? I taped it, and I did a live chat party with it, and I want to know what you think. I was blown away. I loved what she said. Now, a lot of people won't agree with me, and they'll hate me for it. I haven't decided who I'm going to vote for, and I'm trying to be like an equal opportunity promoter, but I thought she kicked ass. I don't want someone who's going to be status quo. I want someone who's going to get in there and say, I will not stand for this inhumanity, and do something. Somebody who can lead and who is fearless. And anyway, we'll get into more. Let me read some comments. Martin, silence in the face of evil is itself evil. Absolutely. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act. And did I just read that? Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Wow, you have good sayings. I always think back to Martin Niemöller, the person who was a Protestant, like a father, like a priest, and he said, he was the one he got imprisoned by Hitler, and he said, first they came for, he used to tell the students, and he's a professor, first they came for the, whatever, the unionists, and I wasn't a unionist, so I did nothing. Next they came for the next group of people. I wasn't that group either, so I did nothing. And then they came for me, and there was nobody left. And I got taught that when I was really little. And I guess it kind of stuck with me because it's true. And like Martin Luther King Jr., I believe he's the one who said, something to the form of, until everyone's free, no one's really free. And I know I'm misquoting, but that's the essence of it. And it's true. If you're watching somebody have their human and civil rights taken away the way Trump has been doing, and you're watching, why aren't you next? You are next. You just don't realize it. It's basically, you're doing your own self in, and that's what white folks today are doing. We're doing our own self in by supporting a freaking racist, inhumane asswipe. So, sorry, I'm getting a little carried away here. Sorry. Martin, he died in a concentration camp. Oh, goodness. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, is that who you're speaking of? Died. Wow. Martin, that's the fear that is generated telling the truth. I guess. I don't know. I just think it's huge. But thank you so much for jumping in and giving such encouraging words of wisdom. Every person gets, impacted by different words and different things. As a white person, we aren't going to all of a sudden get it and be like, I see the light. It's a slow and likely uncomfortable to painful process. Things that you would not even believe end up being like, what? That's racist? Like, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to screw up, and we have to just suck it up and learn from it. We're all going to make mistakes. And sometimes they'll be unforgivable, and sometimes they'll be forgivable, but you can't quit. Just got to know that it's worth it. So the next topic that I have, and anything you guys want to talk about, jump on in, is Biden. I'm not into, bagging on any of the candidates. In my mind, anybody, okay, the baby walking down the street, anybody is a better, more humane choice than him. He vowed to do horrible things to people in every single numerical minority group in America. I don't think he skipped any. And he's kept, in his attempts at least, his promises. I think he's kept all his promises. Martin, we have to tell the simple truth, which takes a little courage. Yeah, I guess so, yeah. My favorite time when I'm working with a white person trying to help them move along is when they find their voice. It's awesome. It's like they all of a sudden, it doesn't matter if you're shy or reserved, the person just kind of all of a sudden gets it and goes, you know what, I get it to the point where I'm okay to talk about it. And it's amazing. And it's a tough point to get to, but it's a beautiful thing to get to the point where you know what to say when someone says, well, my ancestors didn't own slaves. You know what to say when they say kneeling for the national anthem is that's just so rude. That's so anti-American. That's so, you'll know what to say. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be a jerk about it, but you'll know what to say. Pat, there is a difference in making a mistake and just being straight out racist, and that's what the white supremacy does. Yeah, making a mistake, let me think of something that, I've made mistakes. Oh my gosh, have I ever? Nothing overt, but just things that I really didn't think about. You know what? That kind of could be taken, I didn't mean it that way, but it doesn't matter because it's not about me. And so I've learned a lot, and I have no doubt that I'll still continue to make mistakes. I've called people things that they don't like to be called. Then the next person comes along and they do want to be called that and not this. And Pat, we've all made mistakes. I think that, and I don't want to speak for you, Pat, but I think what you're trying to say is there's a big difference in someone who's trying to learn and someone who's just overtly a racist piece of what. Sorry to put it that way, but it's kind of simpler. So yeah, I think we white folks, we have to humble ourselves kind of and realize we don't know the answers. We aren't the leaders. We aren't the saviors. So, okay, so I got it close. Thank you, yay. Just want to make sure I'm not speaking for you. But anyway, so yeah, it's a tough thing. It's a really tough thing to do, but I believe we can do it. We just have to want to. We just have to care and realize it's in our best interest to do so. So with Biden, I was kind of blown away by him in the third Democratic primary debate, and I want to know what you all think of this. He was asked a question. It was a long question. Mr. Vice President, I want to come to you and talk to you about inequality in schools and race. In a conversation about how to deal with segregation in schools back in 1975, you told a reporter, and we all have probably heard this, I don't feel responsible for the sins of my father and grandfather. I feel responsible for what the situation is today, for the sins of my own generation, and I'll be damned if I feel responsible to pay for what happened 300 years ago. Now, we all know that shows on a very, very low, basic level, a total misunderstanding and lack of knowledge of our racial history. The sins of our fathers, first of all, are still happening. Secondly, you can't torment and torture people for centuries and not have it impact the next generation and the next and the next and the next. It doesn't work that way. I think a lot of white folks want to think, this is a lovely way to think. It's completely full of crap, but lovely nevertheless. Hi, Mr. F.S. Black. Thank you for being here. That, people who were forced into an enslaved, humans who were forced into an enslaved status became free and everything was great and they were equal and it was perfect. And everyone was just dancing in the streets from then on. Well, unfortunately, the South and people in the North were not going to allow that to happen. That's not how it happened. In fact, most of us don't realize that 1 out of every 4 people, humans, who were emancipated and allowed to be free, but with nothing, died of starvation and disease. There's a man who put a book out, I can't remember his name at this time, but he wrote a book, it's in the last 2 years, about his anecdotal research on that, and he's had a lot of scrutiny, and it's held up. There's a lot to learn about our real racial history. So anyway, the question was, you said that some 40 years ago, but as you stand here tonight at the debate, what responsibility do you think Americans need to take to repair the legacy of slavery in our country? And that was what they asked him. And it's a fair question, especially since he has been scrutinized for his response to busing, and I don't know that he was against integration on a legal level or just against busing as the way to integrate. I don't know. That's a very, specific thing. But he's, it's a fair question. Mr. F.S. Black, as Louis C.K. has said, white people in America think everything has just been great and progressive after slavery. Yeah, absolutely. They don't understand the sundown towns, the redlining. My God, redlining alone. They just don't get it. Oh my God, it could just go on and on and on. Every time a group or a community of non-white folks started accumulating wealth, white folks jumped in there and made sure it was destroyed. And I mean destroyed. And that's not a history that a lot of folks get in their history books. And if you're white and your parents don't teach you and your school doesn't teach you and you don't take a college class, you may never know the simple truth. And so you're basically, and you don't have a single solitary close friend who's not white. Good luck in learning it. A lot of folks like that end up, buying into the bullshit propaganda that keeps the wealthy elites extremely wealthy and keeps everyone else wishing someday they could be like the wealthiest elites, the white folks who run our nation. And it's a scam, it's a con, and we white folks have fallen for it. It is not in our best interest to be racist. But we just don't get it. But thanks for that, Mr. F.S. Black. So how Biden responded, it started off, kind of great, I guess you could say. And then it kind of went down from, I don't know, what do you guys think? I know a lot of folks viewing watched it. He admitted to institutional, segregation and systemic racism, and he proposed, tripling the amounts of funding to Title I schools, and he talked about, the need for not just daycare, but getting all kids into a pre-K, starting to learn at young ages. And as a teacher, and as a human, I think we all kind of know that it's really important that kids start young and, learning and everything. And some parents don't want to, or aren't able to, or don't have the time to teach their kids. They're working too damn hard to make ends meet, or maybe they're not good at it, or whatever. So pre-K is for everybody, and it should be. It's what he said next that blew me away. I was cringing like, oh my God, he did not go there. Oh my God, I was flipping shit. I was freaking out. He said, I can't even read this, but we bring social workers into homes and parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help. They don't quite know what to do. This is from his transcript. I'm reading this from a transcript. I didn't make this stuff up. Play the radio. Make sure the television. Make sure you have the record player on at night. Make sure the kids hear words. A kid coming from a poor school, a very poor background, will hear 4 million words fewer spoken by the time he gets there to school. Now, that statistic, in and of itself, he said, a poor school. That's socioeconomic. But the question was, if I'm not mistaken, it was about integration and racism. So I cringed. I just couldn't believe he was like, I think that's blaming the victim. I was like, oh my God, he is so not going there, but he kind of was. If you're watching on Facebook right now, I can't switch over to it because it'll, I don't know, the computer will explode or something. I can't seem to stream both at once and have both comments going. Can you come on over to my YouTube channel and let me know what you think? Because I am taking comments over here. I wish I could do both, but every time I do, I don't know. Lloyd, hello. Thank you for being here. It says, Lloyd says he was RSC. Okay, excuse my naivete, but what's RSC? If you can put it. I want to know because if I don't know, maybe other white folks don't know, or maybe it has nothing to do with being a white folk. Maybe I'm a moron, but tell me what it is. I want to know, okay? So I was appalled by him. I just, I'm sure he's a very nice man, but that was just like, whoa. He's implying that if you're a person of color, oh, Colin, yay, thank you for not knowing. Yay, thank you. Just making me feel better, right? I try to be like candid about what I know and what I don't know, and I don't know a lot, but help us, Lloyd. But that's why I expect the people viewing, you're here to teach just as much or more than me. I couldn't believe what he was saying. He was implying, in my mind, I'll just say I think he was blaming the parents, saying they're crappy parents or they're not doing right for their kids. I've seen many poor parents as a teacher, because I was a teacher for a long time, and some of them were amazing. I've seen some wealthy parents who were, they were blatant. Okay, blatant. Thank you for, yeah, so it was, right, okay, so you're saying, yeah, Lloyd, I don't want to speak for you, but you were saying, yeah, it was just so blatant, it was ridiculous. Colin's freaking dad. I'll call you dad. There's no such thing as a dumb question. If you don't know, asking is the only way to find out. Thank you. I try to be humble myself that way, but I still get embarrassed, but I do it anyway. Thank you, Lloyd. So basically it was like, oh my God. Money doesn't make you a great parent. A lot of things do, but money doesn't. Money makes it a whole hell of a lot easier, I'll tell you that much. It really does. But it doesn't make you a good or bad parent. That's ridiculous. I have known some of the least wealthy parents that are freaking amazing. And because I was a teacher, I got to know hundreds and hundreds of parents. I've met amazing parents with amazing kids. I've met amazing parents whose kids weren't amazing. You got to raise what you got. Not everybody kids aren't born equally. You get some strong personalities, mental disorder, just people who are going to be amazing adults, but it doesn't quite go over well when they're kids. It's like, save it for the jury. I tell some of my kids, They're great they're great at arguing. They're great at standing up for themselves. But when you're a kid, sometimes the moms and dads are like, "Oh, just listen to what I say." But anyway, yeah. So I was blown away by what he said. Martin, we have the poorest person and the richest person with the same exact health care card in America, that will be a good start on equality. The Canadians have had this since 1968. Fantastic point. Absolutely. There's a lot of propaganda coming our way, and Martin, I know you know this, about having universal health care. And I'm telling you, every person I have ever talked to who has it in England, Australia, Canada, they're laughing their asses off at us. They love it. Like, one guy even said, "I'm going into my surgery right now, and I'm going to leave not owing a cent." I was like, "Oh, be quiet. Enjoy your surgery." But, I mean, I'm just saying. Frank. Hey, Kevin. Hello. Thank you for being here. Sweet. Gigi, yay. Really happy people are coming by. Jump in. Don't let me rule this conversation. If you have something you want to talk about, just jump right in and start telling me. If I don't know about it, then it's going to be on you to provide the information. And of course, the viewers will check you and make sure you're right, because they always do. But I just couldn't believe that Biden went there. I can't imagine who is advising him or educating him or teaching him about cultural competency. But I kind of think like nobody, maybe, just based on that. What an insult. Oh my God, what an insult. And just ignorant. Kim, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? I see myself sitting here doing a live show. The beach. Sorry. Yeah. Someone back there just yelled the beach. I see myself sitting here doing a live show once a week. Frank, what are we talking about? Today, the topics I have planned for are anything you feel is newsworthy about racism, bigotry, and inequality in America. But I have a few things planned. I talked about Biden already. I've talked about the stuff I did a rant on why NFL players who are white in the past and presently aren't standing up for their brothers. Their brothers who are black, brown, indigenous, and of mixed heritage and African American. Why the hell are they just standing there, not kneeling and not doing a damn thing? It's like they're completely complicit, and it's not like they don't have close friends, and it's not like they don't know. So that makes me crazy. They have no excuse. Not that there is an excuse, but 3 out of 4 white folks in America, and this is held consistent, do not have a single close friend who's not just like them. So, that was part of my rant. You missed my big rant and everything. And then there's a couple other topics. But anything you want to jump in that's been going on this week, the immigrants, people who are seeking asylum. We all know. Frank, fear is the root. Fear is a hell of a drug. Yeah, absolutely. And I get it that it's fear. I mean, I do get it. It's, evolutionary, but for us to protect ourselves when we're fearful. But the cool, I'm going to sound really condescending, and the cool part about being human, it's like really cool, we're humans. We don't have to act like animals who they will respond to their fear. We can think. We got this cool thing called thinking. We can do critical thinking and analysis and tell ourselves, I'm afraid, but I'm going to control myself because I know it's not rational, or I know it's wrong or not right or not the best way. It's cool to be human, but so many folks choose not to act human, and it's destroying our nation. It's destroying our world as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if we'll survive another year or 2 or 3 or 4 with this kind of hate in our nation. It's getting worse, and it's all about fear, because the stuff's out there, the real information, the true facts. Right now, you can talk to somebody pretty much anywhere in the world. You can talk to somebody who lives in a different culture, a different language, a different skin tone, a different religion. The world is at our fingertips. It's a choice today to remain ignorant. It's a choice to not research your own information. It's a choice. And it's a choice to be a racist piece of shit. So, I mean, I'm so fed up with the racism. And I'm a little over the top maybe tonight just because sometimes it hits me like anyone else. You know, I really care. And it's just so wrong. I don't want to get into it. But anyway, the immigrants and the people who are coming here from other countries, I cannot believe the doubling down that this administration is doing. And please mind you, when I say this administration, I mean us. Because the fact of the matter is, we're allowing it. And you might think, well, I didn't vote for him. Well, here's the thing. I didn't either. No, I'm just kidding. But you might not have voted for him, but there's too many folks doing nothing. There's too many people who think that they voted and they did their part. There's too many folks, especially mostly white folks, I hate to say it, who think freedom's free and that it's always been this way and this is how it's supposed to be, and that the people who came before us and fought and died to give us these rights and to give us this nation. And yes, our nation was built on absolute white supremacy, absolutely. But we happen to have a constitution. And yes, it was written by men who could not have the morals, most of them, not all of them, couldn't have the morals to uphold values that matter. They were flawed men. They had humans as enslaved. They put them in enslaved status. But the document they wrote is all we have. And it's a brilliant document if we can just use it. I think it's all we have. There's no alternatives. So as much as, yes, most of them were slave owners, the document itself was made to change and to morph with time. And if you read the cornerstone speech by the vice president of the Confederacy, he hated the founding fathers because he couldn't stand them, because he considered them liberals, because they knew, and they were only like 100 years out, they knew that slavery was ending. Enslaving another human being was going out. I mean, in England, it was already out. And they couldn't be moral enough in themselves to walk the walk. But they definitely made the Constitution so it can morph and change into what it should be. And that is liberty and justice for all, for everybody. And a lot of people don't agree with that. But what choice do we have? We're only individuals. So anyway, I'm blabbing. Frank, Canada has issues with race too. I know that, especially within the Indigenous people here. Indigenous women and girls are being murdered, and there is no outcry from the Canadian government. Frank, I have heard of that. I have heard a ton about that. I've posted a couple articles about it, and any information you want to jump in and give on that right now is absolutely perfect. If you care to, I appreciate it. And we've talked about that a little bit here too. I realize a lot of people look to the United States, and they're upset because right now we are absolutely like lack of leadership or whatever. I mean, just we're void of. It's disgusting. We're setting an example of hate. Neil, Kim, did you get the article I sent you? According to the records in a British museum, slaves were boiled in sugar vats as punishment in the Caribbean, West Indies. I have absolutely no doubt. Thanks, Neil. There's no end to the cruelties. In fact, a lot of people have heard me say one of my third to next video, because I have them like lined up. My third to next video is going to be on the truth about white history in America, white racial history in America, and it's the third. It's going to be the third video, and it will include some disgusting things. And it's not because I think it's cool to talk about disgusting things. I've had to kind of work up to it. It's that people need to know. And I don't know. America seems like they need the truth in their face, because we don't seem to get it. It's been hundreds of years. When was the last time people in power got together and said, we are done? I mean, in America, we are done with systemic racism. We're going to get together. This is bullshit. We can't stand it. We're not going to sit and watch it happen another generation. When was the last time that happened? It hasn't. There's always a cause here and there, but the one thing that's destroying our nation and harming so many people, we just kind of take it as, it's the way it is. Well, it's not the way it is. It's the way we're allowing it. So, sorry, it's my speech. Pat, the Constitution was not meant for all people, okay? Especially black people. No, it was not meant for all people. Of course not. I mean, I get that. But what I was trying to say is, and I don't know if I said it correctly, it was meant to be changed. And we, the people, could make it for all people if we wanted to. That's all I was trying to say. It was designed to be morphed and changed through time. And that's what the Vice President of the Confederacy was so pissed about, because he hated the Founding Fathers. And, and it's just one take on it. We're stuck with it. Of course, at the time, of course not. It was horrible. And there's still some things in it that absolutely need changing and amending. But the document can be changed. And right now, it's all we have. We need to make it so it's for everybody. And I believe that is possible. We all just have to do it together. And anyway, I'm preaching, sorry. Frank, yes, the world needs to learn the truth. That's all I do, is speak the truth. I'm not special. I'm not like entertaining. I'm just speaking the truth. That's it. Like I would anything else. Neil, I'm sorry to bring up such a sick and sad article. No, Neil, it's absolutely, this is real talk, and I'm supposed to be angry soccer mom, so I can handle it. It kind of just got me because I didn't look into the content because I was getting prepped for this show. And Stevie, thank you for being here. I got carried away and I didn't say hello. Thank you so much for being here. I'm thrilled to have you. Jump in anytime. But no, Neil, of course. Pat, that's right, but most people don't get that. There's a lot most people don't get, but so if you have other topics other than what I'm blabbing about, jump in. A lot's going on. I couldn't keep up, so I kind of count on you guys to help me. Neil, absolutely. Anything and everything, just the truth. If it's gory, I'll handle it. It's just like, God, just thinking it. I'm not. What's it called when I'm not detached? So I guess I'm glad I'm not detached. I'm not kind of numb to it. I don't know why. Every time I hear somebody has done something horrific with systemic racism, with bigotry, with inequality, with impoverished people of any, of any race, I'm not immune to it. Like, maybe I don't have defense mechanisms. I don't know, but it still makes me just as appalled and enraged. It's like, you think I'd learn, but oh no. Frank, keep telling the truth. To those who are white, you are essential to changing things in the U.S. and outside the U.S. It's time for you all to stand up. If not for yourselves, do it for your children. Frank, you could not have said it better. I don't want to leave a world. I don't want my kids to live in a world where they have to have this kind of racial tension. It's not right. I don't want them to live in a world where they have to watch their fellow humans be harmed and feel, I'm just an individual, I can't do anything. That's not the world I envisioned for my kids. Yes, my privilege is talking. Yes, I am this arrogant, middle-class white lady. But, God damn it, this is not the world that I want my kids to be inheriting. And it is. And so that's why I yip and yap, and it's because it's not right. Life wasn't meant to be this way. I know that in my heart. And I know that sounds kind of goofy, but I just know this isn't the way life's supposed to be. When the kids are little, they play with each other. They don't look at each other as different races. They love each other. They just want to play. And then something changes. Something sick changes. And we forget. And we move on about life, and we're segregated, and I don't know what it is that changes. It doesn't have to be this way. So anyway, oh my gosh, I'm getting very emotional. Okay, let me take some. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. Pat, you can separate yourself from it. Exactly. And I don't want to speak for you, Pat, but that's the thing. I can take a vacation. A person who's non-white can't. They cannot not be who they are. They cannot cover themselves up and, just say, you know what, I'm sick of this stuff. I don't want to do it anymore. Even in their own freaking home. It doesn't matter where you are. You're not on vacation, and you can't take a break from systemic racism. It's everywhere. And Pat, if that's not the point you were trying to make, then I just spoke for you. I apologize. But great point, if that was what you were trying to say, is I, as a white person, can say, oh, it's just awful. But I can stop anytime I freaking want. In fact, one of the craziest things that kind of made me realize was when I went up, and one of my videos I did on YouTube, when I was going to do a Trump rally. And I went up to the people to I was going to just say, hi, I'm, obviously not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I want to interview you. I don't understand you. But before I even got near them, the guy goes, oh, you must want to be in the rally. And so I was like, and I was really bad. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. The man assumed I was a hateful racist. And I was like, damn. Because I had never really, I don't know, a lot of white folks we don't look at ourselves as in the white group. We just look at ourselves as the norm. Everyone else is, the minority, but we're the norm. We're the, so this is a lot, this is before he even this is 4 years ago. And I was like, damn, he thinks I'm one of his, oh my God. But anyway, yeah, good. Let me see. Where am I? So if that was your point, yay. Okay, good. Thanks, Pat. If not, I just make up shit. What can I say? Martin. I hate to keep saying this, but every human needs a bioanthropology course at college. Don't keep saying it. Say it every time. You're completely right. To find out just what a human is and where we come from. Africa. Yep. Great point, Martin. I love having you here because you just get it. It's awesome. And you make this show so much better. Kendrick, hello. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your truth because individuals run away from the facts. Thank you. Just speaking the truth. I am not special in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a person who can't stand injustice. It makes me enraged. And I can't watch it and do nothing. I might get to one person who I'm impacting. Maybe two, because I never shut up. I won't stand here or sit and do nothing while my fellow humans are being tortured. I consider systemic racism a crime against humanity. And people might go, oh, that's so ridiculous. Oh, no, it's not. It's not ridiculous at all. It's an ongoing crime that takes a person's spirit and tries to crush it. And it's all for nothing. It's all for this fake notion of superiority. Anyway, don't get me going. It just drives me crazy. But thank you, Kendrick. Thank you so much. Nothing I'd rather be doing. Frank says, exactly. I hope it was to me. Martin, Frank, I wholeheartedly agree. Everyone's making such great contributions. Thank you. Frank, knowledge in oneself is key, both black and white. Absolutely. Absolutely. Colin's freaking dad, laughing. It's good that you never shut up. That's the mark of someone with understanding and passion. Thank you. I would say to you guys something really fast. This is so crazy. I didn't speak throughout high school. I think I might have raised my hand once, ate in the library alone every single day of high school. Long story. I didn't have a single solitary friend. So I'm making up for lost time by never shutting up. I swear I am. Let me see. But thank you, Colin's freaking dad. Yeah. Martin, I agree, Kim. It's a crime against humanity. I just, because I've been running these online social groups, social media groups, I hear from people all over the country and from 16 different countries. They don't know each other. They're all saying the same thing. It's not a coincidence. It's not some conspiracy to get something. They're all saying the same thing. And it just, oh my God, I used to think, when I was teaching in Compton, California during the LA riots, I used to think one of the Bush presidents was the president. Bring him down for 1 week, just 1 week, and it will be life-changing. See these beautiful, intelligent, loving children, the environment that they're forced to live in because of terrible redlining and economic, poverty, everything that has done them wrong in America. Not them, but their parents and their parents' parents, and etc. Just 1 week. And it would be life-changing, and every policy he'd make. I was young then, I didn't really understand about the wealthy elite and all that, but I used to say that. But anyway, I'm blabbing. Let me see. Frank, to Martin, go hard and tell the truth. The only one who feels hurt are the guilty. Oh my God, Frank, you have no idea how. I don't know if I told you this story, but I wrote a letter, and yeah, it was really mean. It was from the heart. I wrote a letter saying, if you support the monster that is going to be elected, then go F off. Okay, it wasn't to anybody specific. We all have thousands of online friends. I wrote it. I meant it from the heart. I read it every few months, and I absolutely mean it 100%. I want nothing to do with anyone who would support a cruel, sick person. Now, I'm privileged. I can do that. I work at home. Not everyone has that. But when I did that, Frank, oh my God, I lost so many friends. They assumed I was talking about them. And that's what killed me. I was like, damn, they outed themselves. It was freaky. They outed themselves. And people outed themselves who, I didn't even know they were Trump supporters. I didn't even know they followed me. So it's like, geez Louise, So it's like, I just put a generic letter out saying, before you F off, unfriend me, because I want nothing to do with you. And yeah, it was rude and mean, and a lot of people don't. It's what I did. It's how I feel. I did it. So anyway, yeah, the guilty ones, they ran screaming. I didn't even know. But anyway, that's okay. I'll shut up. Lily, hello. Yay, you're here. Great to see you. And you're teaching video again. Just checking in to see what the topic is. Oh yeah, we're talking about anything you want to talk about that has to do with racism, bigotry, and inequality. And since we all know that's pretty much everything, I was jumping in on right now about what's going on with immigrants. I keep thinking he's reached his point where he couldn't do anymore, and lo and behold, he does more rotten things. So I read a couple articles and saw a few videos, and I wanted to speak to that right now. But we're talking about tons of stuff in the news. Let's see. Frank, I'm happy you're here, Lily. Frank, the truth don't need friends, and it doesn't care for feelings. Yeah, that's the thing. Frank, what I say, you're giving me really good things to talk about. Frank, thank you so much. When I speak the truth, I speak the truth not just in this topic. I don't know. Most people try to be generally truthful. It's not anything to get credit for. I mean, aren't we kind of supposed to be speaking the truth about? I speak the truth about everything. I think I do. I mean, maybe not my, my like subconscious stuff, but I try to speak the truth. So why wouldn't I do it about this? So definitely. And all you poor thing, yeah, it was really sad. I had a really, really sad childhood. It's, you know what? I'm sure a lot of people had worse. But let me see here. Oh, Dan, you can call me Dan. Thank you. I get so confused going from all the different social platforms and then coming to YouTube. Oh, my veg. Pat says there's nothing wrong with it, and I skipped somebody. Pat. Well, in Michigan, there was a white supremacist woman who was on a political board there. She said she will make it a law that black people can't move into her neighborhood, and she said she didn't see... nothing wrong with it. Yes, I saw her. Yeah, that's pretty over, and the news jumps on that. A lot of people scrutinized her, and that was her story, and she was sticking to it. It's unbelievable, yet believe it. Yeah, if you want to put information up on that, Pat, go for it. If not, it's totally fine. But yeah, I did see that too. Dang. Timmy, yay, you're here. Sweet. Have you been here the whole time? Say something. I'm glad you said something. I'm really thrilled that if you're here still. I don't know if I've taken too long. But yeah, jump in with any topics you want. Martin. Frank. Yep, the truth is light, and the light exposes the bullshit. Yep. That's all I'm doing. It's nothing special, and I should get no credit for it, because I guess it's like getting a prize for participating. It's called participating as a human. I don't get a prize for it. I want a prize for it. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't. It's okay. Martin. Frank, I agree. The people that are offended, of course, are in fact guilty of the offenses. And I kind of use that tenet for myself. Like if I start feeling guilty or mad, I think, okay, some truth's being revealed, and I try to use it, to discover. You have to be willing to make self-discovery. It's not always pretty, but I mean, we're human, so I try to use that too. Let me see. Where? Martin. I tell Trumpsters to listen to Trump's first speech. It was blatantly racist, but somehow they didn't hear that. It's amazing to me that they didn't hear it. Martin, one of my first videos I ever did on him was a really, really rude video. Actually, I pulled it. I never put it up because it was just off the charts rude. I was really, really upset. The next video I did was a little calmer, and it said, basically, he had you at racist. It had to be that. How could a normal IQ'd individual of any race, religion, of anything, vote for a man that is blatantly vowing and promising to take the civil and human rights away from our fellow citizens in a nation that boasts liberty and justice for all? I was disgusted. And if anyone wants a good laugh, go back and watch that video, because they're still on there. I didn't even have, I didn't know to look at the camera. So I was okay, I know that sounds stupid. I was looking over there. It was ridiculous, but it was one of my first videos. Give me a break. So I was disgusted. He had him at racist. The minute people found out he's one of us, he's one of the racists, it didn't matter after that. So I totally get that. His first speech, when he sat there with all the other primary candidates, and he disparaged our fellow human beings, and not a single person on that stage, it was one of those crowded stages, said a goddamn thing. Confronted him, not a word, not a peep. I turned to my husband. I said, we're screwed. And he's like, and no offense to my husband, but he's like, no, he's a joke. Trump's a joke. I said, no. I just, not to be like, oh, I'm a know-it-all. Yeah, I got it right. We have a sicko for president. I said, he's going to win. And I'm not even like a good, I'm not a good guesser, or I go, they're afraid of him. No one stood up and said, how dare you talk about my fellow humans and citizens that way? Not a single one. And I knew that was it. So, yay me. That's one thing I didn't want to be right about. Okay, I'm going to stop yapping. But yeah, Martin. Whew. Timothy! South African judge said that black people are naturally rapists and black people have a rape culture and we rape children from the ages of 12 on. Okay, what? Is this in South Africa? Or I hope not in, or was he a South African judge in America? I hope not. I hope he's not anyone, but tell us more. That's just the opposite. It's just not true. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Kendrick, excuse me, ma'am, when you get a chance, check out this book called My Four Grandparents. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it, and everyone else too. Thank you, Kendrick. I appreciate it. That's what this is here for. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you read that's good. Tell us everything. Awesome. Thank you. I definitely will. Because what I do is I go back and read over everything because I'm just blabbing up a storm now. But thank you. Okay. Pat. Why when someone brings up the topic racism, the average white person says, oh, you're just starting trouble. You're just a troublemaker. So why do they say that? That's a great question. I had I don't know the answer because lucky for me, I don't speak for all white people. And I've never said that, but I think just to be honest, I think it's like, I'm just a guess. I think white folks are so uncomfortable with the topic. They don't know how to talk about it. They don't know what to say. It's just like, it's so upsetting to them that they'll do anything to push it away, and they don't get, they can't handle it. It's like, that you can't handle the truth. What movie was that? We can't handle the truth. I can't think of any other reason. What do you guys think? If you're watching, tell me, why do you think? That's a great question. I know the one time, I shouldn't even admit this again, I did say the word black really loudly in a room of white folks because I was, and they flipped shit. It was so, oh my God. Timmy, I think I told you this story. It wasn't pretty. They couldn't believe I said it. And I'm like, it's not a bad word, people. And it was a series of circumstances. I don't normally purposefully trigger people just to be, but I did it, and oh my gosh, it was a long time ago, so don't be hating on me or thinking I'm like this bad person, but it needed to be done because people needed to be spoken to. I was getting mad, but anyway, Pat, I have absolutely no clue other than we can't handle it, I guess. Timothy, what do we have to do to change the thinking of white people who grew up in racist societies and grew up hating black people for no reason at all? What do you guys think? If you answer this question, please respond to Tim. Part of the problem with this whole thing is it's not going to come from top down. If it was going to come from top down, we'd have integrated just a curriculum from pre-K to 12. If the parents aren't going to teach their children, then the schools would do a great job of anti-racism, anti-bigotry, the real truth about our racial history. I'm not talking once a week for a special. I'm talking every single day as a class. And it would be appropriate for preschoolers at each level, and appropriate, and one generation. That'd be it. One generation. We'd change the culture. But the wealthiest elite are not going to be standing for that. They're not going to sit either. They are not going to have that. This nation doesn't have to be racist. It's a choice. Tim, I have no stinking clue. But for people who want to learn, it's a lifelong process. We will never get there, but we can die taking our last breath saying, you know what? I did my best. I did my best to do what I know in my heart is right for everyone else. And by that point, they'll know it's right for them too. Because white folks are disillusioned. We're fooled. We're fools. We're being tricked by the wealthiest elite. We think being racist is in our best interest. Being racist is in our best interest. Not even close. But we just don't get it. We're fools. I don't know what else to say. It's not in our best interest to be racist. It's absolutely working against our own best interest. But anyway, I am blabbing again. Let me see here. Great question, Tim. Thank you. Lily, what is the name of that video you're talking about? Does anyone know the name I can type in? Trump's saying he would take away the liberties of our citizens. I just want to hear that. He didn't say, I'm going to take away the liberties of our citizens. But what he did say was he dehumanized. He dehumanized to the point where it was the very first time I saw him up there with a lot of, I can try to find it for you. He dehumanized to the point where my eyes were like, oh my God, somebody say something. Hello, somebody say something, and no one did. And it made me realize they were afraid of him. And it was one of the first presidential debates for the Republican primary to see who was going to be the nominee. And there were tons of people up there. And he said something so vile. And then throughout all of his promises, if you watch some of my videos, I outline exactly what he said to each group of how he was going to essentially take away their civil and human rights. And I can list them. I list them in my videos all the time because I really, before he came along, I didn't do videos on him. I didn't even know I knew he was some like rich, arrogant guy that ran a show that he fired people. And the first thing I ever found out about him, ever, was that night, or that day, when I was watching that video, that debate. I went over after the debate and I looked up his name. And guess what came up? The Central Park Five. I didn't know what it was. I'm from California. I wasn't around then, and I was focused on my career, and I did not know that kind of news. Well, I studied that and I read what he did. And I didn't know he was a racist. I just thought he was an arrogant, rich, like, I don't know, snob or something. I had no idea he was, oh my God, I had no idea. I read that, and it was one of the most disgusting things I've ever read about. And I was sitting there looking at the man who did it on stage just a few minutes earlier. And I got obsessed with learning about that case. Kind of crazy. And now that I live in New York, of course, all the people in New York, know about it. But anyway, that. So yeah, I'll try to find that for you. No problem at all, of course. Let me just scroll back here. Sorry, I lost my spot. I'm getting there. Timothy, it's a South African judge, female in South Africa. Wow. Thanks, Tim. That's a damn lot of nerve. I mean, it's just ludicrous. People who talk like that it's just ridiculous. It truly is. There's no group of all people. Well, there are trends. Let's just say it, if you think about America. But it's not the black folks who are doing that. Yeah, I won't get into it. But thanks for clarifying that. Kendrick, you can get it on Amazon, the book. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. F.S. Black. Timothy, that judge was a white South African, wasn't she? South Africa is no stranger to racism. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying. Thanks, guys. Nails and Glitter, hello. So happy you're here. White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo explains the defensiveness as well. Yep, she's really good too. She does really good work. Thank you. I'm so glad, because what I do is I replay this and I put it out to a lot of groups that have a lot of white folks who do want to learn. And if they do watch this, they're not learning from me, they're learning from you guys. So the more you give to this program, it's awesome. People will watch it and see, and they'll hear what you say, and I promise you, they're listening, because I get a pretty good feed. I take them and I take them on the YouTube, and then I put them like in as many groups as I can, so that I can hit as many white folks as possible. Because remember, as a white person, it is not my place to teach a non-white person how to be. Okay, that's called stepping out of my lane. Like, that's like area codes out of my lane. It is not my place. I do not lead. I do not get credit, like, oh, I want a prize, even though I love prizes, I'm just saying. And I don't tell people who are living it at this time how to make their life better. I do not know more than the person living it right now, and that's a really important point. All my videos, for good or for bad, are centered around getting white folks to get this. Not so they can be saviors, so they can be humans. Okay, and I mean that. So that's just to let you know. Let me see. Timothy, if you tell the truth, why people... Okay. It's like, did I read that right? If you tell the truth while people's heads explode, you better wear safety glasses. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. You are my sweet savior. Thank you. Yeah, it's almost like if I was bold enough and alone, of course I wouldn't bring my family, I would just video what happens when you say stuff like that. When a white person like me says something, about racism, or talks about racism, it makes white folks cringe. They flip shit. I mean, Tim, we've talked about it, Okay. I mean, I'm not laughing, but I guess I am. I'm just so tired of it. But okay, enough about me. Yes, I should wear safety glasses. Gary, the GOP embraces racism to get Southern votes. Trump is the natural culmination of it. A great black POTUS scared the lot of them. It's the backlash. Did you guys expect this kind of backlash? I mean, I'm naive white me. I didn't expect it. I thought, okay, we're heading in the right direction. It's not fast. It's not perfect, but at least it's like there was a maybe direction. I mean, like slow as a snail, but now, oh my gosh, this is terrifying. But yeah, okay, great point, Gary. Colin's freaking dad. Okay, sorry, I'm not calling you by your real name. There are some white people, I'd like to include myself among them, who have picked up on the truth. The people whose heads will explode are the daughters of the American Revolution types. Yeah, that's a great point. I found that a lot of okay, I live in the country, and the further north you go where I live, the more racist it gets. I'm just saying, not everybody, but in general. And it's just freaking terrifying, okay? The knowledge base just isn't there. The information isn't there. I've gone up to white folks and tried to explain things, and they're like, kidnapped from their homes? Put on ships? What are you talking about? And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, breathe. I'm talking like perfectly normal IQ'd white women. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, so you just cannot believe it until you see it. I tell the white folks that I work with, and I'm not a white hater. It's that I just expect more from white folks. I just know we can learn this stuff. I know we can. I believe in it. I don't know how to say it. Bless you. Okay. I just know what we can do better, and this just can't be as good as we are. It just can't be. I can't accept. I won't accept it. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, that's a good point. Colin's dad. Lily. I would say in response to Timothy's question, it's just to keep educating. Unfortunately, I might be grassroots type education, one white person at a time. That is exactly what I kind of do, like one person at a time, because once I totally, you get it. One person at a time, because once the person gets it to a certain point, there's no turning back. They will desire the truth themselves. They'll crave it. I've seen it happen over and over again with my beginners groups. They crave it. It's like once you realize you've been lied to, then you think, well, what else have I been lied to about? What else have I been lied to? And then you have to know. I think we have a natural tendency, a lot of us, to want the truth. And unfortunately, since it's not going to be top down anytime soon, it's got to be grassroots, bottom up, one person at a time. Because think, every person that you bring along, every white person that we bring along, is eventually going to bring on another white person and another and another. It's just like that hair commercial. I'm sorry, I'm being a goof, but it really is, and that's grassroots, and that's how it's going to have to go. So every person you educate, and the more you educate yourself, it's a slower process, but top-down's just not an option with the kind of stuff we have going on. But really nice comments. Okay, sorry, I just lost my spot again. I apologize. Okay. I'm gonna go back. Lily, okay, thank you. I can search for it. Trump video. I'm on your Facebook, and if you think of it, you can send me. Otherwise, I'll look for it. I would be curious. Absolutely, and I'll try to look for it as well. It's definitely on YouTube. Paul, I protect soccer moms all the time in my mall. Tell me more, Paul. Thank you for being here. Tell me more. I must hear more. Kendrick, yes, I am from California. I'm from Southern California, and I lived there 32 years, and now I'm in New York State. And I want my sunshine back. Sorry. Okay, I promised I wouldn't cry, but yeah, I want my sunshine back really badly. Yes. Pat, do you know when Chinese people came to this country, they're coached not to talk to any black people? I did not know that. There is obviously some major racial issues with many, in general, Chinese, and I do know that. And it's caused a lot of problems. I did not know that part of it, but if that's something you've known, then you know more than I do. I know that there's a lot of racism with Chinese folks. Not all of them, but it's kind of a thing, and I realize it's kind of a big thing and a problem. I think that's really, really sad. It's their loss. I mean, it's very un-American, but, or maybe I should say it's a little too, I mean, when I say un-American, I'm talking about the ideal of equality, not what we have, which is not exactly close to ideal. That's really sad. Ma'am, you don't even know the crazy, the book that even has it in the life. Okay, wait, let me read this again. Ma'am, you don't, you're calling me ma'am. Are you calling me ma'am? You don't even know the crazy, the book, what even has it in the lifestyle. Tell me more. I want to know what you're saying. I don't quite get what you're saying, but I want to know. I can only imagine. Tell me more. Nails and glitter. When a white person breaks with white solidarity, other white people look at you like you're part of the problem, mostly because you're forcing them to face their own racism. Yeah. The stuff I get on YouTube is probably the worst. I only know my own sampling because, well, I know Dixon too because I'm an admin on Dixon White. He's a wonderful friend of mine and a serious activist. I know a lot of you probably know him because he kind of has a really big following, actually. And I see the stuff he gets sometimes, and it's, oh my God, it's brutal. But I get stuff nothing ever original. Nothing ever factual. They tell me I'm ugly, I'm disgusting, just stuff like that. And then they, some people say really, I get a lot of bad stuff, but it's nothing compared to what non-white folks have been dealing with for hundreds of years. It's nothing. I can stop doing what I want, what I'm doing anytime I want, and that is privilege. But yeah, I guess, I don't know why they do it. I'd be embarrassed to do it, because like, if you're a hateful racist, like, you should probably like be quiet about it, because it's so embarrassing, because like, that's, I don't know, that's just me. I don't get why they do it. I don't usually respond to them. It's so tempting. Oh my God, it is so tempting. But Dixon tells me not to do it. Do not engage. And every once in a while I do get some threats, and I obviously report them. Or somebody who, this is a weird thing that I personally get, because I only know about me and Dixon, because I don't know anyone else who really does this, who's a white person. He gets brutal people. They're just rude. I get some people repeat over and over and over again. That scares me a little bit. When they repeat, like they'll message me like 50 times. Not good. But yeah, I guess so. I guess. I've been called a race traitor a lot. And I'm like, dude, there's only one. I try not to engage them, but it's like, it just shows their ignorance. It's like, we're all in one race, dude, But the only funny thing that somebody ever did say that I did engage them, he said, lady, you need a cup of shut the fuck up. And I thought that was so funny. I was like, okay, can I have one? And I wrote back to him, because I said, you sound like you're very mean, but that was really funny. I'm going to use that. I think I actually used it the next week, for fun. But yeah, that was that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that many people who do this. So, nails and glitter, racism. They don't believe that they have. Wait, you see, because you were forced. Oh, right. You wouldn't believe this nation how many white folks are not racist. It's unbelievable. We have so many hate groups in the nation with so few racist people. I don't get how it works. Okay, I'm being sarcastic. It's like the worst thing in the world to admit to being racist. I don't have a problem with it. I did a video on it. It's called All I Said Was All Whites Are Racist. Because I believe that implicit bias is a form of racism, because it does turn into, oftentimes, discriminatory actions. So by definition, that's just my personal belief. So by definition, since all white folks have implicit bias, it's just from living in a nation that is based on white supremacy. That's all it is. It's not our fault. It's nothing we did. We were born into it. And I did a video that says that, and it explains how I got my own implicit bias. Because I remember some things, like I remember some influences, and I've tried to look back and trying to think about it. So I try to explain how I got mine, at least a few parts to it, so that white folks will understand, like, you didn't do this. It's part of living in a culture that's based on white supremacy. You didn't do this. It's not your fault. But now that you know about it, do something. Don't just do nothing. So, let me see. Pat. Well, I saw it coming. The KKK had come out of hiding, and everything. Racism has spiked in this country. Yeah, I'm surprised you say that, because like I don't have a good feel for whether it's spiked or just become more mainstream. I obviously, in my mind, it's gotten way worse, but these people were thinking the things all along. They just weren't maybe verbalizing or acting on them. So, yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think? People who are like, I want to know what from non-white folks. Has it gotten worse, or has it just kind of come out of the closet more? Like, I just think, I'm guessing it just came out of the closet or was empowered and emboldened. But I bet these people were thinking this all along. So I'm not sure. Oh, Kendrick, it's crazy. Every group's got a problem. Yeah, absolutely. And I sound like I'm just calming down on white people, and there are some amazing white people. I am not saying that. This is just a fact of our culture. And I think we should do more. And I think it's horrific that we don't. In general, we don't. Some people do, but not enough. There are too many white folks going about their business saying, doesn't affect me any. And that is complicity. I'm sorry. It is not good enough to be nice to everybody. This is a system that needs dismantling and restructuring to include everybody. And if you're not actively doing something to do that, then you are not helping and you are not on the fence. You are supporting it. And that's just my feelings. Don't hate me for it. It's my stance. You don't have to agree with me, but you better agree with me. Frank, I'm going to send you some stuff. Okay, I definitely will. Thank you. Ali, hello. Hello. And let me see. I accidentally scrolled up. Martin, thanks for being here, Ali. Very happy you're here. Martin, most of our history books, unfortunately, are still the story of European white people and the hierarchy of society in the church. Very little is devoted to black and brown history. Yeah. And you know what? Like a friend of mine pointed out, it's not that white folks haven't done some amazing things. It's that a lot of the things we've done have been at the extreme expense of non-white people. So I just call it like I see it. White folks need to step up to the plate and take racial responsibility. Not blame, not guilt. Racial responsibility. If this is the kind of world you want to live in, I don't know what to say. But it's not the kind of world I want to live in. And I don't want it for my kids. And I don't want it for your kids. So that's all. That's all I'm saying. But people take that as I'm hateful to whites. Well, I am a white, so come on. Anyway, Martin, great point. Frank, I've experienced that with some Asians, not all, and Indian, people from India, I'm assuming you're saying, not all, they need education too. They are victims of so-called white supremacy. Absolutely. And you know what, Frank, you brought up a fantastic point, is white supremacy does not just impact white people. Internal racism? Hello? I mean, people get sucked into it. It's everywhere. Like Obama said, it's in the air we breathe. It's so easy to get sucked into it. And, you know, you want to be cool like your role model over here who's white. Well, it's not your fault. But even other groups of people who aren't maybe the darkest brown, but maybe brown, light brown, tan, people who are not all the way, I guess, you know, there is a lot of issues among I guess it's colorism, I guess they call it, and a lot of people, they want to be white. I mean, they've bought into it. It's easy to do. It's easy to get sucked into this sick, I mean, so many people buy the whitener and put it on their skin, and it's just so sad. They've bought into it. It's really sad. Great points, of course. Thank you. Yeah, it's really tough. There's no escaping it. Kendrick. Okay, the book has a lot of stories too, and it's in it. Oopsie, let me just shoot. Stories to it in the crazy of racism in the book. Okay, so that's what you're saying. Okay, and it shows a lot of history and talks going back during slavery. Interesting. That sounds really interesting, because something that I did that was very, very interesting was I heard the people who were slaves talk and their narratives, and it was really their voices, and it was like, it was eerie, it was so powerful and intense. And I've posted a bunch on social media. I should probably post it again. But yeah, I love like getting as close to the primary source as I can. I feel like it's a more honest, historical, and truthful way to study and research. So thank you for that. Love Dixon. Yes, I do. And I did a video interview with him, and he did the best interview. You guys should check it out. He told all about how he became who he is, and it was amazing. And I seriously think if you love Dixon, check out his the video interview. It was a long time ago I did it, but he tells stories that you'll really get to know him. It's on my YouTube somewhere.
Sorry.
Oh no. I'm not sure why my phone's going off, but okay. Scrolled up again. Sorry about that. Okay, Kendrick, you gave us a URL, which I can't look at right now, so I don't know what it is, but thank you. I'm assuming it's something having to do with what you're saying. I appreciate it. Thank you. So definitely click on that. I'll click on it later when I get off. For some reason, you can't do it right now. Colin's dad. Colin's freaking dad. That's the video with the foot race where you take steps forward if you have... okay. Oh, I love that one. If you have advantages, or right, if you're advantaged, and it's trying to show that privilege means to people who have to see through their own. Are you talking about that video it was an amazing video? You actually show people all line up of everything, you know, they were brown, black, indigenous, white, everybody. And they said, take 2 steps if you have 2 parents in the house. Take 2 in that video, and people thought they were just going to run the race, but he's like, oh, no. And it really was telling. I'll try to post that onto here if I can. Okay? That's an awesome video. You have to see through their own privilege to understand it. Yep. I know the video. Great call. It's like one of my favorite videos in the entire world. Martin, on a more positive note, the United States is the most diverse, multicultural country on the earth. That is our unequaled strength of the world, although it does not seem like it sometimes. Yeah. We just have to believe it and have a leader who is able to bring people together and to make us realize. A lot of folks don't understand that people who are immigrants and asylum seekers and people who don't have their paperwork, they're better citizens than the average white citizen. Like, point blank. I'm not saying morally or whatever. I'm saying they are better citizens. They get in trouble less. They get, because they can't. They have to do well. They don't have a choice. If you don't have documentation and you're in this country, you can't blow it. So people don't get that because they don't want to get it. It's out there. All this information is out there. If only people cared enough to face the truth. Kendrick, you can get the book at Barnes & Noble too. Thank you. You're doing a great advertisement. Isabella, hello. Thank you for being here. Jump in anytime and tell me what you think. Thank you for being here. Nails and glitter. Seriously read White Fragility. She explains the reactions and how the reactions only serve to support fragile egos and the system of racism. Yeah, you're talking about the D'Angelo book, I think, or video, or I think that's what you're talking about, or am I losing my mind here? I think it is very telling, the people who come out of the woodworks to tell you how wrong you are about white supremacy, and then other people listen, and other people assume you're talking about them. And it's like they kind of, like, have you ever heard of a kid, like, you go up to your child and say, hey, and they're like, I didn't do it! That's kind of what it's like. It's like, I didn't say anything. So you're kind of like, wow, they must have done something. That's the way white folks act sometimes. They're so defensive, they kind of out themselves. And it's such a steep slope, the anti-racism continuum. It's lifelong, and you're going to mess up. And you're going to be humiliated, and you're going to be embarrassed, and you're going to want to just go be that person who can just use their white privilege and pretend it doesn't exist. Do it for a minute and then go back. We're not going to be perfect. It's a lifelong thing. You think you can be perfect all your life? A lot of white folks think that, like, people who are anti-racist are just perfect and never had a racist thought in their entire life. Well, give me a break. We live in a society that is throwing it at us from birth. You're going to have some racist thought in your life. You're not going to be perfect. Forgive yourself, humble yourself, learn from it, and move on. It's not about guilt. It's about just doing better. But anyway, that's my spiel. Kendrick, did you hear about Circle Moon cleansing is supposed to end like the cycles of behavior and make peace who did wrong towards you? Circle Moon cleansing. Oh, no, I don't know anything about that. Sounds like a spiritual thing, or maybe I'm completely not getting it. Tell me more. It was published. Circle Moon. Published. Yeah, I don't know that. Whatever, a book, I'm assuming, or I don't know much, but keep the information coming. Thanks, Kendrick. I appreciate it. I'm very happy you're here. Mr. S.F. Black. A lot of other groups, such as Asians and Indians, especially in Africa, from what I've seen, have bought into white supremacy. They've fallen into it somehow. They've fallen for it to somehow lessen their victimization. Yeah, I don't really know why. It's a good question. I really don't know why. But I can only believe that it's the same reason white folks get sucked in, and some brown, black, indigenous, people of mixed heritage, African American, Hebrew Israelites, get sucked in because you guys, it's everywhere. It is everywhere in our culture. It's really, really tough to not get sucked in. So, and probably they get sucked in like everyone else. Nails and Glitter, White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo is the book, and it's also available in audio form. Thank you. She's really good. And Kendrick, yes, that means I said something right. I hope it's to me. Okay, thank you. Let us keep going. I am extremely happy that everyone's here. So it's really everywhere, right? Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing in a terrifying way, not in a good way. All right, I'll do a little bit more on this and see what people want to talk about. So the Trump administration, they just never stop with the immigration and the. I mean, it's unbelievable. They've separated these children from their parents who adore them and are coming from escaping horrific conditions in nations that we helped destabilize. Us, America, went in with our Cold War policies into the nations, and we helped destabilize them, and we left. And we are part of the cause. But we don't want to take responsibility. So we got that. So he's turning away people like that. He's lost children from their parents. Threatening parents with deportation, given children to baby mills that DeVos, the Secretary of Education, helps support so that they could be sold for profit. Yes, if you didn't hear that, go watch my video on it. It's disgusting. Made children who are 2, 3, 4, 5 represent themselves in immigration court. You should see the little cutie pies up there with a microphone and headphones trying to self-advocate when they don't even speak English. And they're 2. All this is absolutely true. Children who are deprived children of sleep, of adequate access to food, clean water, hygiene, sexually assaulted people. Thousands were sexually assaulted between Obama and this administration. And the Trump administration hid it in a stack this big, hid the information that needed to be told, and cases were not taken care of. Cases were not, the conditions were sick. Yes, Pat, I absolutely will. I promise I will. and staff was sexually assaulting children. That wasn't taken care of either. It was all hidden away in a giant stack. It was a huge case a while back. It was probably more than a year ago with Trump. So, I mean, there's just been I could go on and on about the horrific things that have been done to the people who are seeking asylum. People have been sent back and they've been killed. There are limits to how long our government can keep and detain people. There's the Flores ruling. It's a Supreme Court ruling. And as of today, Trump wants to overturn it. I read an article today, a coalition of 20 states, including California and Massachusetts, want to, I guess they're Friday, they announced a lawsuit against the Trump administration, proposed rule to amend the longstanding court order that limits detention of migrant minors to 20 days. Trump wants to throw that out, and he's not shy about it. It's the first major litigation against the Trump administration where he plans to rescind the Flores settlement agreement and a rule that would allow the federal government to indefinitely detain asylum-seeking families, including minors, until their cases are reviewed by immigration court. Could be years. The lawsuit, which is scheduled to be filed later Monday, I mean, this just came out, argues that the Trump administration proposed rule will endanger minors by removing state licensing requirements. So social services will not overlook and be watching for them. Even though they're having trouble as it is doing so, they will not be responsible for doing so. There will be no oversight as far as what I read. He wants to get rid of the oversight for the children. The lawsuit, what else did I read? Proposed rules will endanger the minors by removing state licensing requirements for families in detention centers. The 20 states argue that, this is their argument, they argued against stopping the protection, saying that the expansion of family detentions will lead to an uncontrolled expansion of for-profit detention centers. For-profit, does it ring a bell with the Trump administration? Sick. Creating incentives for more families to be detained and for prolonged periods of time. And under any circumstances, this will have horrific impacts on human beings. He wants to make money off these people, okay? Let's just put it bluntly. He wants to make a profit off of people's sorrow, just like he does with private prisons. And it's disgusting. It makes me sick. Critics have said point blank that it says Trump is legalizing concentration camps for immigrant families. And I think he's right. I think whoever wrote that is correct. I saw that in the news today. Another article just out today. The Trump administration proposes that immigrants pay $1,000 fee to appeal their deportation. To appeal their deportation. Okay, excuse me. Most of these people have walked 3,000 plus miles with their children on their backs. Do you think they have $1,000 to fork over? If they did, maybe they would have flown over. I mean, give me a break. It's unconscionable and disgusting. So that's the stuff I got today. Martin Kendrick, I don't think the circle moon is going to do anything. We need the White House. That will do something, perhaps. Martin, on that note, I want to say I watched in Hong Kong what the people did at the airport, and I don't know a ton about that kind of politics, but I do know we might need to take note. I don't think he's going down. I don't think if he gets, if he doesn't get elected, I don't think he's going to walk away. And I know that's not just my opinion, that's the opinion of many, many people, but he has a lot to lose. He wants to be a dictator. He wants to have a regime. We're in very dangerous territory. The next year, I think, I don't even believe I'm saying this in my, white privileged opinion. I think it's going to be quite telling. and terrifying. I'm waiting for him to shut the borders for our safety. I mean, this is scary shit, you guys. Nails and glitter. America needs a slave to function, and this is a continuation of selling bodies. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just for profit. Capitalism was never meant to be, it wasn't meant to be a lifestyle. It's supposed to be like an economic, a way of like, for our economy, not a lifestyle, not a Machiavellian, cruel, inhumane. I mean, corporations are now people with no hearts and no souls. So I'm going to end it for tonight. And next time, I'm going to talk about Trump and his homeless plan. What he has planned for the homeless folks. People who have no homes to live in. So they are living literally on the streets. It's not a good plan. It's a plan that will basically be another one of his for-profit models, where he will force the most vulnerable citizens in our nation, many of whom are people who are in the military. And it's some sick shit. I don't know if you guys have read about what he's planning. He's very concerned for people who have to deal with these homeless people. He's not concerned for the people. He doesn't give a shit about them. It's huge. I'm going to talk about that next Wednesday for sure, because I can't even believe it. He's not even shy about saying it. He's not even shy about talking about these people and dehumanizing them like they're nothing, like they're trash. They're humans, their moms, their dads, their aunts, their kids, their uncles, their brothers, their sisters. They're humans. And he's disgusting. Anyway, Martin, 50% of all of U.S. are labor slaves right now. We need to acknowledge that certainly, regardless of color. Yeah, and I mean, right now, it's no living wage. We have lots of issues. We have a lot of problems in America, and a lot of it really does have to do with economics. The wealthiest Americans are getting wealthier, and everyone else is struggling and going down. And it is not an accident. It's time for the middle class, even the upper middle class, and people who are in low income situations. We all need to unite together, because the wealthiest elite are killing us. They're destroying our democratic republic. And ultimately, it's going to happen. I think we're going down, and I don't know if it's too late, but who knows? So I wanted to say, and I also, next time I'll talk about the Felicity Huffman sentencing and what y'all think of that. And I have a ton of other stuff. I wanted to thank you profusely for being here tonight. And if you agree, if you feel like I do, that it's way past time for white America to take racial responsibility, please help support my YouTube channel and my work trying to get white folks to jump onto the anti-racism continuum and be lifelong learners, so that they can be whole people and experience real life and be part of the solution. So please help me. I do not have any white friends left. I have a few, but so I just spread the word through people coming on here. Oh my God, thank you so much for being here. You guys, I cannot thank you enough. Every last one of you. This means the world to me, just to talk about it and to have you. And someday, if I ever do better and get lots of people, I will have it call in so I can have your voice on here, not me constantly blabbing. Colin's freaking Ted, thank you so much. Martin, Lily, you are wonderful. And Nails and Glitter, I could name everybody. Nails and Glitter, and just Pat, I think he's gone. Mr. FS Black, Kendrick. Oh my gosh, I'm going to skip people and be Isabella. And I think I already said Martin. I just appreciate everybody. And Frank, And everyone I skipped, you make this show amazing through your participation. So I hope I see you next Wednesday. Keep in mind that we're going to have, damn it, we're going to have it. I'm going to make panels. I just have to pick a day. It's looking like Tuesday maybe on Tuesday there's no football games. Monday night football, Sunday night football. I want to have a panel where I just kind of watch it and help run it, and people talk, the people who live it, the people who are educated about what's going on in this country, mostly the people who live it. So if you're interested in being on a panel at any time, I'm going to start signing people up and throwing out the topics once I pick a day. Thanks for being here. Keep in touch with me, and I promise if you write me, I will eventually get back to you. Okay. Thanks, and be safe, everybody. Good night. Now I have to turn this off. There's another story. Uh-oh. Thanks, Nails and Glitter. Okay. Don't laugh, but no freaking clue. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Good night, everybody.